History is full of brutal moments, but torture, that's where things get disturbingly creative. From ancient empires to medieval dungeons, these weren't just punishments, they were psychological warfare, designed to terrify as much as to injure. These are 5 real torture methods used in history, and yes, they're worse than you think. Let's start with a device that's as strange as it is unsettling, the Pear of Anguish. It looked like a metal flower, or a fruit, with 4 curved petals. Once inserted into the mouth, or elsewhere, a screw was turned to expand it outward. Some claim it was used on heretics, blasphemers, or women accused of witchcraft. But historians debate how often it was actually used, and whether it was more a tool of intimidation than execution. Either way, it was a physical symbol of pain, and the imagination behind it is disturbing enough. If you're squeamish, this one's going to be a problem. Rat torture has been documented in Imperial China, medieval Europe, and even South America. The setup is simple and horrific. A live rat is placed in a bucket, which is strapped open-end down to the prisoner's stomach or chest. Then, the back of the bucket is heated by fire or coals. With nowhere else to go, the rat claws its way out, through the person. It's the kind of punishment designed not just to kill, but to unsettle everyone who heard about it. Next, the Brazen Bull, a horrifying blend of execution and performance art. Invented in ancient Greece, it was a hollow brass statue shaped like a bull. Victims were locked inside and a fire was lit underneath. As they burned alive, their screams echoed through pipes that turned them into bull-like sounds, as if the statue itself were bellowing. Poetic irony? The inventor of the device, Perilos, was supposedly its first test subject. King Phalaris didn't appreciate being upstaged. You've probably heard of the rack. It's famous for a reason. Victims were tied at the wrists and ankles to rollers. The executioner would crank the wheels, slowly stretching the body. Tendons tore, joints dislocated, and if they wanted information, they usually got it. Used during the Inquisition and across Tudor England, the rack was a go-to tool for extracting confessions, real or otherwise. It wasn't flashy, but it was brutally effective. Finally, the method that might be the most disturbing of them all, Scaphism, from ancient Persia. The victim was placed between 2 small boats or hollowed logs, with only their head and limbs exposed. They were force-fed milk and honey until they developed severe diarrhea. Then their entire body, especially the exposed parts, was smeared with more milk and honey. They were left in the sun, where insects were drawn in. The person was slowly eaten alive, over days, maybe weeks. It's hard to confirm how often it was used, but ancient sources describe it in disturbing detail. If true, it's one of the slowest and most grotesque deaths ever devised. Most torture wasn't about justice, it was about control, fear, and power. Whether or not every one of these devices was used exactly as described, they show how far people have gone to break each other, and how the past isn't always as civilized as we like to think. This is Minutes of History. Subscribe for more true stories that prove history is always stranger and darker than fiction.